Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Master Match 101. I'm here once again to give you a great video. As you know, earlier I posted a video about the inflation, how high it's gonna get, and today we're gonna tackle yesterday Yellen was talking about the CNN. We're gonna see what she said.
Says inflation is the #1 domestic economic problem facing the United States right now. But it wasn't just the president who got it wrong a year or so ago. I want to play for you what you said about inflation last year. Listen to this.
Is there a risk of inflation? I think there's a small risk, and I think it's manageable. I don't anticipate that inflation is going to be a problem, but it is something that we're watching very carefully.
Was it a mistake, Madam Secretary, to downplay this inflation risk? Did that?
We've been saying this for months, and then you guys trying to deny it, because what happened is they've been saying inflation is gonna be skyrocketing because how they tackle inflation is wrong, how they tackle the economy is wrong, because we've been spending a lot of money on stimulus package and stuff like that. But Yellen was on point. They had Intel telling them that it is wrong to do so. You got to tackle the inflation, but she keep pursuing that the inflation is not here to stay. The inflation is gonna go away for the past few days, but now 2 years down the road, inflation is rising. Right now it's the highest peak is at 4. It was 8%, and the next thing you know, some people say 8%, but most likely look like 17%, and then they say that now they're wrong about it. So I wonder what else you're wrong about.
Contribute to the problems we're all seeing right now?
Well, look, I think I was wrong then about the path that inflation would take. As I mentioned, there have been unanticipated and large shocks to the economy that have boosted energy and food prices, and supply bottlenecks that have affected our economy badly, that I at the time didn't fully understand, but we recognize that now.
Okay, I'm glad you admitted that you also fully understanding, but the thing is, it's not supposed to be your job to recognize it. How can you be in the situation like that, in a position like that, and you don't fully recognize it? That's mean one point that you don't really take your time to analyze what they're giving to you, or you don't do, or you don't hear any of your intel. You go by your feelings, or you go by what you believe in. And but the truth of the matter is, you have a lot of people pointing out inflation is high, inflation is going to affect the economy, but you chose not to. That you told me that you're wrong because you weren't fully aware of the situation, but because the news keep telling you inflation was high, or inflation keep climbing because of all the spending you're making without considering that it's gonna catch up into you. That's where I have a problem with.
The Federal Reserve is taking the steps that it needs to take. It's up to them to decide what to do. And for our part, President Biden is focused on supplementing what the Fed does with actions we can take to lower the cost that Americans face for important expenditures they have in their budgets. Prescription drugs is one example. Healthcare costs, another example.
Imagine you go to have healthcare prices. The reason why they do that because of the pandemic, because a lot of people want to go to check to find out if they have COVID or not. That's why they reduce their fare. They when you go to the hospital. But the truth of the matter is, how many people go to the hospital? A lot of people have been scared to go to the hospital. You're talking about the healthcare prices. That's true. That's a good point. But the thing is, not so many people go to the hospital as you think it is. More people stay home. More people go buy food. More people go travel. More people are willing to go to work. But the thing is, the salary cut up because they're paying high prices and taxes, and then now the inflation is high. Now even their salary is not even increasing, and they have to pay gas, they have to pay mortgage, they have to pay rent, they have to pay for the authority, and then nothing going to go down in the near future. But you're talking about the healthcare prices that's going down. This is kind of slap in the face, because we don't, not most of them stay in the hospital. We stay at home. We got family, we got kids to feed on.
Utility bills, if Congress is willing to pass some of the proposals to boost the use of non-renewables, I think that can serve to bring down an important cost.
Okay, here's the thing. They say some Congress was able to adapt, but the thing is, you guys between 3 to 5 days, you guys were able to sit down and send a help to Ukraine to $44 billion to help them fight the war in Ukraine. But you guys gonna sit down and comment on ground to send a lot of money to help the American people. And when was the last time you guys sent the stimulus package? Let me find out. My response is that you guys did that because before Trump went out of office, he said that the Americans deserve more money. That's why you guys print out the stimulus package. Now, when you get in office, you never talk about the stimulus package for the American people, and the American people are really starving. Even though you give the child care $300, which is good for every month, but when people fill out the taxes, you guys take that money back. But the Americans are winning right now. You guys spend more money overseas than to spend it on your own country and over their own oil to protect our economy, to protect our energy, and to grow as a nation.
Loss that households face. He realizes, we all realize, what an important and huge burden inflation is placing on American
And
households.
we've all seen the gas prices explode over the past year here in the United States, and which is
Wait, yes, I totally admitted that the gas price has been rising, been like $4 for the past few days. Some say it's $5, some say $7. That's been where we live. I mentioned that on my past videos. You can always go back and watch it. But the thing is, if the gas prices are rising and then you cut all your prices from Russia, that's mean the demand gonna be even higher. That's mean the price probably go even to $7 to $10 for the new future, because summer is coming and people are willing to travel, and it's every time summer coming, the gas prices rising. So we're gonna see how they're gonna tackle that too.
a real problem, obviously, for so many. But let me just follow up. You say you were wrong in your assessment of inflation a year or so ago. Just today, the former U.S. Treasury Secretary, Larry Summers, a man you know well, said the Federal Reserve needs to do some, quote, considerable soul searching right now about how badly they missed the gravity of the inflation problem. Is Larry Summers right?
Before she said that that's not only about the soul searching, it's about what their purpose. They actually set up that in place just to happen that far, because remember, Biden make a lot of executive orders throughout the nation to do such and such. Why did they can't make an executive order to tackle inflation? They have the House, they have the Senate, and they have the presidency. Why they cannot fight inflation? Because there's no way for them to talk about that. There's no way, nothing that's gonna stop them to achieve that goal. But again, it's my opinion. Let's see.
Look, I'm not going to comment on the Fed's policies. Chair Powell has made clear that he has every intention and believes, as I would, that the Fed has the tools to bring inflation down, and that's his focus. You know.
So basically, they're trying to play the ball game. So the Feds don't point out of Yellen don't point out of Biden don't point out of the Fed, but they said that Fed is gonna tackle it, and then they have a meeting to yesterday and today to tackle inflation, but none of them want to admit, and they have, well, we sit down and we join together and we come up with a conclusion that this is how you're gonna tackle inflation, this is how we're gonna fight. But we're gonna say that when they're not gonna say that, they say, well, the Fed has to do his part, the Treasury has to do their part, and the President has to do their part. It's okay, I don't mind that showing away, but the thing is, at this point, what common ground you guys set up? Because the Feds can say something and then you guys don't want to listen, and next thing you know, you guys are not really going into deeper about the recession. Are you guys separately doing your hard things, or you guys are joining together, forces together to make inflation going down, or just talk right now?
You know, the Fed has a dual mandate. The economy is, I think it's fair to say, operating at full employment with the strongest job market in generations. Inflation's too high, and it's got to be brought down.
Is it going to get worse in the short term?
Well, you know, core inflation has come down. It's still too high, but in recent reports, we've seen it move down.
Wait, core inflation's gone down. This is the part. You've been from 4% inflation, now it's 8.3. They were expecting 8.5, but 8.3 is going down from 0.02. So come on now. next month you don't even know is the inflation gonna go to 9. If you go to 9 points, you expect it to 10, you say it's 9, so you say it's going down. The number is going higher. The last time was 7.5, now it's 8.3, you say it's going down. What kind of mathematic logic are you guys using? Because it's every month going up, but the thing is you're expecting to go higher, but is the expectation is higher than it, and the result is lower than your expectation. So that's a good news. But throughout the month of the year, the number keep increasing. At this point, I think they're playing a mind game. They're trying to put the number very high, and they want people to go crazy. And the next thing you know, the inflation they put in a way that the number go down, so people can believe that the market they tackle the inflation is good. For example, they can predict the inflation go to 10, and next thing you know, the inflation come 8.5. This is a good news. But the thing is, from 8.3 to 8.5 is going higher. So that's the mind they're trying to spread out. That's the message trying to tell people. So that's they're doing a good job. But the thing is, the matter of fact is the number keep increasing, but the expectation keep increasing as the number increasing. So you don't feel the pain that actually the inflation is rising.
And that's an encouraging sign. But oil prices are high. Russia continues to wage war against Ukraine. We're trying, and the Europeans are trying to address that and limit his ability to wage this war. There can be impacts on energy and food prices that, we can do everything we can domestically to control. The president has authorized historic releases.
I have a problem with that, because the person that you're talking about, Putin, is mean like he want to invade Ukraine. Yes, you know about that. But you guys try to cut all your ties to Russia because he invade Ukraine. I'm not trying to judge to be between politics, but another point, you guys forget that your resources rely on Russia, and then you decided to go alone by yourself. Now you short on oil, you short on energy, and now you gotta be able to sustain yourself. You have to be able to produce for yourself. On top of that, you as a NATO nation, you cut ties to Russia because of invading. But the thing is, now you are in the same situation, because now you don't have enough energy in the oil, so somebody has to be productive to give each of this country enough oil to keep running, because the oil keep producing. Now the demand gonna be higher, and now the price is going higher. That's why we're in right now the situation. And then stop blaming Russia for everything. At this point, been since February, we are on June. You guys supposed to have now a method how to fix things. But again, stop blaming Russia, because Russia, you already have sent $40 billion to fight the war, and you can spend that money also on your oil to have more oil, more energy for your economy to be sustainable and for the population to grow as a nation.
Of oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, but we can't rule out further shocks.
Okay, that was the video for today, guys. Please smash the like button, subscribe to you're not new to see my video daily. That was my intake for Yellen. At this point, I think inflation is here to stay. As I mentioned earlier, 18 months for probably 2024, unless start the midterm, and there's some shift going on the midterm, and there's new people in the House and the Senate or the presidency. But for now, people, it's not going to be green for a couple of days. Like you said, today the market was red and keep going to be red. I believe tomorrow is gonna be red, and probably I don't know if the weekend gonna be red. That's depending on how the Fed and Powell, Biden and Yellen, how they gonna sit down and come for answer. But for now, everyone is pessimistic, and the bear market continue. And guys, that's the next one.